Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about having a Gemini sun and a Scorpio Ascendant in a natal chart. Now, having this combination, Gemini sun can be whimsical, very vivacious, very lively, likes a lot of activity, very restless, and can be very changeable and vacillating, but yet adaptable at the same time. Now, having a Scorpio ascendant will modify these traits, I think, considerably, at least as what's projected outwardly through the outer demeanor. And well, what I think this does is this adds a little bit more persistence and tenacity to an otherwise very changeable Gemini sun. And a lot of the mental interest that Gemini likes, the sun Gemini likes, will be pursued, I believe, with emotional intensity of the Scorpio rising. Now, when I look at the sun sign, the rising sign, the sun sign represents our basic wants, and the ascendant or rising sign is the manner or method in which one attains these basic wants. So for a Gemini sun, the basic wants can be having a variety, mental stimulation, communication, good conversation, and we look at the Scorpio rising, the way that this person may attain these basic Gemini sun wants could be through emotional intensity, through persistence. They might satisfy perhaps the inquisitive Gemini sun, perhaps through learning about Scorpio-like things such as supernatural, the occult, astrology, perhaps things connected with forensics, solving mysteries, perhaps. This could be the person that might solve that restlessness of the Gemini sun mind through these Scorpio-like things, and in a Scorpio-like way by being resourceful. Scorpio rising can be very resilient. So having a Gemini sun that is generally not always persistent, the Scorpio rising, I think, will give more follow through with the Gemini sun. It will. Having that Scorpio resilience could indicate that if the Gemini sun reaches a barrier when trying to figure something out, they may try another avenue more quickly than the typical Gemini sun, because Scorpio rising is about resiliency and it's about persistence. And if there's a setback where they didn't feel that they accomplished something on, say, for example, in school, and they might be the type to bounce back rather than maybe give up. This person would be more likely to give it another shot and may bounce back with flying colors. So when I look at this, a lot of this depends on the aspects, I should say the aspect that the sun in Gemini makes to the Scorpio ascendant. Now, if they are inconjunct by sign, so they are not compatible by sign, but if they make an inconjunct aspect, for example, let's say the Gemini sun is 18 degrees and Scorpio rising is 15 degrees. Well, this is adversarial, and this could indicate a little bit frustration, perhaps a little bit of exasperation and inner tension, because the personality that is being projected outwardly could be vastly different than the inner self represented by the sun. And this could cause a little bit of tension inside the person, whether the person is cognizant or not of the subject of astrology. And the same could be true. You could have, we call this an out of sign opposition. Let's say, for example, somebody has the sun in Gemini at 0 degrees. And their Scorpio ascendant is at 29 degrees. This would be an opposition, though it would be an out of sign one. And this would be like the inconjunct. It's an adverse aspect, and it could indicate, the exasperation and tension inside due to the fact that the person, they feel they're exhibiting or exuding characteristics outwardly that are a little bit, or that may be strongly different than what's going on inside. Another example could be, now let's say you could actually have an out of sign trine aspect, which would be auspicious. Let's say, for example, the person has their sun in Gemini at 29 degrees and they have a Scorpio ascendant at 1 degree. This would form an out of sign trine aspect, and this person may very likely integrate the energies of the Gemini sun and the Scorpio rising more readily than otherwise indicated by this combination. Now, another thing to look at is to look at the house that the sun in Gemini resides in. Now, if you have the sun, say the sun is in the 7th house, even though the Scorpio rising will likely be more dominant in its overall influence and impact on the person, the sun in Gemini could still come out, at least in quiet ways, in the 7th house, such as through partnership, relationship situations, and you might see a little bit more of this Gemini verbosity and loquaciousness and this need for more activity in this particular area and more restlessness in this area of the person's life. Now, let's say that the Gemini sun is posited in the 8th house. This could show a lot of inquisitiveness and curiosity in matters perhaps connected with the occult, with astrology, with supernatural, maybe things that are associated with inheritances, with legacies, and there might be a desire to learn things connected with transformation, like a very strong transformation for the change as far as this person may go, and might be very and express these matters perhaps very eloquently. Now, let's say, for another example, that the sun in Gemini, in some cases, could be in the 9th house in the person's natal chart with Scorpio rising. Now, in these cases, the Gemini characteristics may come out through matters pertaining to the 9th house, such as philosophy, the in-laws, higher education, and abstract thinking. You might see a little bit more restlessness, and person might be a little bit more talkative in this area than what they're actually showing through their outer demeanor, which is connected with their rising sign Scorpio in this case. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for having a Gemini sun and Scorpio ascendant in a natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about having a Gemini sun and a Sagittarius ascendant in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.